the Banana Bar, the Hospital Bar, the Rijksmuseum, Sexy Lou, Theatre 97 and Sex Palace Peep Show. Hello, this is 10 Walks That Explain the Netherlands. I'm Jan Otten, and this is the third of the videos that I'm making of the fourth walk, which is in the marvellous city of Amsterdam. Although, as you can see, I'm surrounded now by a bit of countryside. There's horses over in the fields there, although there's no escaping the sound of traffic though. And in this video, obviously, given a setting like this, I'm going to tell you a bit more about the sex industry. Now, this really is a bit of a spectacular walk in many ways, but very unlike the Amsterdam that you're probably used to. As you can see, I'm now surrounded by a few little canals and polders and reed beds, and there's some cows and horses over there. I can see a heron, not heroin, over there. I started off in a place called Balmermeer, which is this utopian estate from the 1960s and 70s on the edge of Amsterdam. And then there was the Johan Cruyff Arena, the enormous, quite cool stadium where Ajax Amsterdam play. And then I'll end up eventually working my way up into Amsterdam itself, where of course you'll be able to see all of the merchant houses and the canals and all of those golden age sites that are much more familiar. But I think this just shows you how much else there is there if you go and look for it, especially if you get out on your feet and do a bit of walking. I've just stopped for a second in the shade of a tree. Beautiful September sunshine. Fix a blister on one of my toes. I always get one in the same place. I eat a couple of carrots and have some water. And I thought I might as well tell you about, there's a guy called Jan Otten, and he died fairly recently, in his 80s, I believe. And he was known as the king of the red light district. He had a shock of silvery grey hair, very, very strong looking jaw, looked as though he could really handle himself. And he actually used to work as a bouncer, going way back. But then by the end of it, he owned a string of sex clubs. I've got a list of a few of them here. The Banana Bar, the Hospital Bar, the Rijksmuseum, Sexy Lou, Theatre 97 and the Sex Palace Peep Show. Quite an array of places. And yeah, he worked on the door selling tickets to one of them virtually till the end. He represented, well, he thought for a long time that his vision of the red light district as an area of fun and permissiveness was under threat. He represented this, and he was celebrated for it. When he died, lots of the sex workers turned out with umbrellas in the air. There was free ice cream for a lot of people, and basically a lot of people really pinned this on the end of an era. The place I'm walking to, it's called the Europaboulevard. It's a very anonymous suburban place. And the reason why that's important is that this is where the big sex supermarket, or super brothel, it's got all of these names, is being set up. And that's an attempt to move the red light district out of the centre of Amsterdam and move it into the suburbs. This is to do two or three things, one of which is to regulate it more, make sure there's less trafficking and all the associated problems that you can get with the sex trade. Second one is that it's just so grubby now. You know, lots of people gawping at ladies in their windows, and other people can argue about it. Anyway, there's enormous problems moving it out to this place. Who knows whether it'll happen or not, but I'm using this walk as an example of just the way in which the Netherlands is trying to look at some of the externalities of its permissiveness and tolerance that have grown up over the year and ended up probably a net negative. Work out exactly how those tall men in dark suits that seem to organise so much of what happens in the Netherlands are able to solve this problem. Well, this is the Europaboulevard. That's where the plan for the new sex superstore, mega-brothel, is going to be. At the minute it's a lovely spot. You've got this beautiful park that I've just been in there, where you can go on a little train or eat an ice cream or just watch the coots and the herons and the great crested grebes duck under the water. There's plenty of parking. I mean, in terms of sheer infrastructure, it makes sense. Easily accessible, and it's not in the centre of town. You do have a lot of people living here. I wonder what they think. But anyway, that's what the plan is. Lots of tall men in dark suits organising what everyone should do. That's the Netherlands.